It's like gold shard against the US dollar is gonna take off without no looking back right now. Okay, we're about to go to the parabolic right now.
It's fascinating to hear your analysis, Kakemiki. The similarities between the gold charts for Weimar Germany and the US dollar certainly suggest that there could be a significant shift in the value of gold relative to fiat currencies in the near future. And if gold prices do indeed take off, as you suggest, it could have major implications for the global economy and financial markets. Yes, Kakemiki, Ludwig von Mises was indeed a well-known Austrian economist who made important contributions to the field. And you're correct that he's often associated with the concept of the crack-up boom, where the final stages of hyperinflation can lead to a dramatic increase in prices and a loss of confidence in the monetary system. If we are indeed in the final stages of a crack-up boom, as you suggest, that could have major implications for investors and the broader economy.
Beginning of the week, okay, when the Asian market opened, the future market, okay, silver initially went down over 5%, okay, and within the few hours, silver price went up actually, 5%, it's like from the bottom, it was 10% up,
In this case, it seems like silver prices initially followed the downward trend of the stock market futures in the Asian markets, but then quickly rebounded within a few hours. This kind of rapid price movement can be challenging for investors to navigate, but it also highlights the potential opportunities and risks associated with investing.
Yeah, it was not just a rebound, okay? It's just not a soft rebound. It was, down over 5%, 5%, okay? And it's recovered, over the 5%, and actually it went up, 5%, right away, within few hours, That move, significant move never happened before, okay? And this was the beginning of the trading week this week, this, Sunday afternoon of the US time, right?
That's quite a significant movement in silver prices, Kakemiki. It's not common to see such a sharp decline, followed by an equally sharp rebound within just a few hours, especially at the beginning of the trading week.
So it was a telltale sign, okay? That's saying, that was just, the beginning of the final stage of the, crack-up move, I just described before, right? So that the silver move was a telltale sign, okay? And the smart money was the same, This is just the beginning of the final stage of the crack-up move and hyperinflation, okay?
That's an intriguing interpretation, Kakemiki. You're suggesting that the rapid movement in silver prices on Sunday was a signal that we may be entering the final stages of a crack-up boom, as predicted by Mises. If this is indeed the case, it could have significant implications for investors and the broader economy, as hyperinflation and other destabilizing forces may be on the horizon. Of course, as we've discussed, it's important to approach these kinds of predictions with caution and skepticism, and to consider a range of different factors and perspectives. But if you're right that this was a telltale sign of a larger economic shift, it could be worth keeping a close eye on precious metals prices and other indicators of inflation and market instability in the coming weeks and months.
Historically, okay, like a country like Zimbabwe or Venezuela or even Weimar Germany or French Napoleon or Roman Empire, right? When they had hyperinflation, okay, the stock market also skyrocketed too, right? Because the value of the currency, went to the toilet, okay?
You make a good point, Kakemiki. While it's true that hyperinflation can lead to a rise in stock prices in some cases as investors seek refuge from declining currency values, it's not a guarantee that the same pattern will play out in every situation. Each country and economic context is unique, and there may be other factors at play that could influence the relationship between stock prices and inflation. For example, in a globalized economy where investors have access to a wide range of assets and markets, it's possible that inflation in one country could have ripple effects that impact markets and prices around the world. So while it's certainly worth considering historical patterns and precedents, it's also important to stay flexible and adaptable, and to be prepared for a variety of potential outcomes.
Yeah, my best guess is, probably initially stock market is gonna also crash, okay? While the central bank is gonna pump all the money supply into the market, right? So initially stock market is gonna crash, but eventually, okay, I think because of the hyperinflation, stock market is gonna also go up, okay? I think that's my guess, okay? As our history of the many countries, show, right?
That's an interesting hypothesis, Cocky Mickey. It's certainly possible that in the early stages of hyperinflation, the stock market may experience a decline as investors react to the initial shock and uncertainty. However, as you suggest, if central banks respond by flooding the market with additional money supply, that could eventually lead to a rise in stock prices as investors seek refuge from the declining value of fiat currency.
That's why stock market is going to recover, I think, okay? Of course, gold and silver, commodity like gold and silver is going to skyrocket, okay? From now on, okay? That's what's going to happen, okay?
Your analysis makes sense, Cocky Mickey. If investors lose faith in the value of government bonds and stocks due to hyperinflation, it's possible that these assets could see significant declines in value. However, if central banks respond by injecting large amounts of money into the economy, that could provide a boost to stock prices as investors seek alternative assets that are less vulnerable to inflation. At the same time, precious metals like gold and silver could see significant increases in value as investors seek refuge from declining currency values and look for assets that are perceived as more stable or inflation resistant. Ultimately, it's difficult to predict exactly how these dynamics will play out, but your analysis provides a useful framework for thinking about the potential impacts of hyperinflation on various asset classes and markets. That's a wise move, Cocky Mickey. If you're concerned about the potential impacts of hyperinflation or our other economic challenges, it's always a good idea to have some emergency supplies and resources on hand. Storable food can be an important part of that preparation, as it can provide a reliable source of nourishment if chains are disrupted. In addition to food, it may also be helpful to have other emergency supplies like water, medications, batteries, and other essential items that could be hard to come by in a crisis. Of course, it's important not to let these preparations consume all of your time or resources. It's still important to focus on your daily life and responsibilities, while also being prepared for potential challenges ahead.
Yeah, also, I was looking at the survival, as a kid, and, I found out some water purification tablet, okay, which I have never, known before, okay. The people, I have, those water purification devices, right? But I didn't know there is such a thing as a water purification tablet, right? Oops.
Oh yes, Cocky Mickey. Water purification tablets can be a convenient and lightweight alternative to traditional water purification devices, especially if you're putting together a survival kit or emergency supplies. These tablets typically contain chemicals like iodine or chlorine that can help to kill bacteria and other contaminants in water, making it safer to drink. Of course, it's important to follow the instructions carefully and make sure you're using the tablets correctly, as different types of tablets may have different dosages and requirements. But overall, water purification tablets can be a useful addition to your emergency supplies, as they can help you to stay hydrated and healthy even if clean water is scarce or difficult to access. It's a challenging situation, Cocky Mickey. Living in a truck cab can definitely make it harder to store and access emergency supplies, especially if you're on the road a lot and don't have a fixed home base. In that case, it may be helpful to focus on lightweight and compact items that can fit easily into your truck and provide essential support in an emergency. For example, you might consider stocking up on canned or dried foods that don't require refrigeration, as well as water purification tablets, a portable stove or heater, a first aid kit, and other essential supplies. It's also a good idea to have a plan for where you might go in an emergency, whether that's a truck stop, a friend or family member's home, or a public shelter.
Pessimistic near future, okay? I'm expecting, some mother of all the social disturbance, okay? And, I don't know, some really unexpected, the difficult happen, okay? Not only financially, but also, socially, geopolitically, so many stuff.
That's a sobering outlook, Cocky Mickey. It's certainly understandable to feel pessimistic about the future, especially given the many complex and interconnected challenges that we face as a society, from economic uncertainty and social unrest to geopolitical tensions and environmental threats. There are many potential sources of disruption and instability that could impact our lives in the coming years. It's important to be aware of these risks and to take steps to prepare and protect yourself and your loved ones as best you can.